Hiking long miles or even short miles doesn't have to be difficult. In this video, I'm going to give you 10 tips to make hiking easy. If you're new here, my name is Bryce. I'm a backpacker and an ultra marathon runner, and I'm going to give you the secrets that ultra marathoners use while putting down the miles. And you're going to want to stay till the end on this one because you're actually getting way more than 10 tips. Tons of nuggets of information in this one, and I bet you everybody is going to learn at least something from this video. So number one on the list is body glide. Nobody likes chafing, and everybody has their limit of where the chafing starts.
I'm chafed in a very unpleasurable area. Totally forgot the body glide on this one.
My arms are no longer the thing that hurts the most. It is my chafing butt cheeks, and it hurts so bad right now.
This is something that I always make sure I put on before long hikes and ultra marathons. And if you've never heard of this before, no, body glide is not a type of sex lube. It actually doesn't even work very good for that. I mean, I've never tried it or anything. So when you apply this, it actually feels kind of sticky in your skin, and I had my doubts at first, but the stickiness is actually good because it stays on your skin. So if I'm going out for like a couple day trip, maybe a 2-nighter, 3 days of hiking, I'll actually only apply this one time. It stays pretty much on your body until you physically scrub it off. Every single time I've ever used this, I have never had any chafing. I even put this on before my 100-miler, did not reapply the entire time, and had zero chafing problems. Number two, and this one's kind of a given that I've went over a couple times before on the channel, but train. So many people go out off their couch to do these long trails and kind of epically fail or just don't have a good time out there, and that's really avoidable.
This trip blows.
3 or 4 training hikes or even like a couple weeks of training before you go on a big hike really is not going to get your body and your muscles used to what you're going to put it through. So I can't stress enough how getting on I say at least a 3-day-a-week training plan helps. Run a little if you get tired, walk a little, just get that time on feet. It's not about mileage. Your muscles and your bones will actually get stronger, and you also turn yourself into a cardio monster. And I know it's so hard for some people to really start running if they have bad cardio or they get out of breath really easy. But when you build runner cardio, hiking will not faze you anymore. So my cardio is to the level where there's a set pace that I can run like indefinitely and never get out of breath. So when it comes to walking or hiking, never a problem for breathing, and that leads me to my next tip. Now this is the one I feel like I'm gonna get some people on. If you are tired of getting out of breath, you need to get on the beet. Beetroot is full of nitrates, and that actually relaxes and widens your blood cells and affects how efficiently cells use oxygen. Oh, check this out. A study reveals that drinking beetroot juice reduces oxygen uptake to an extent that cannot be achieved by any other known means, including training. So what are you waiting for? Get on the beet. Oh, eat your beetroot, kids. Problem is, beets are disgusting. So I went to the store and I bought the beetroot juice, and I made it about halfway through that over months before I just ended up throwing out. It was intolerable for me to drink that. But lucky for all of us, you can get beetroot as a supplement in a pill form. Now these are something that I actually take religiously leading up to races. I think the studies show that you really get the most benefit if you are taking beet up to 2 weeks prior to whatever activity you're training for. But I usually just start loading up on the beet about a week before my runs. So does this actually work? Here's my experience. So years and years ago when I was a new runner, I was really trying to break into a faster 5K bracket, and I just could not get to it. So I actually typed into Google legal doping for runners. I don't want to win races because of illegal substances, so I was just trying to get every advantage I can, and I figured it would say things like caffeine and getting more sleep and all these things that are kind of a given. But beetroot was the thing on there that really surprised me, and I started immediately. So in my experience, I took beetroot for a week, building up to my 5K, and I was trying to break a sub 25K at the time, and I ended up coming at a 19:15. Now I truly think it helps. Leg muscles and fatigue is never my problem. When I'm running a fast 5K, it's 100% cardio holding me back. I could definitely go faster if I could breathe more. So I'm always trying to increase my oxygen. And whether it was a placebo or not, the beetroot stuck with me ever since. The thing is, you don't want to take this every day. Combined with other high oxalate foods, I think, it will give you kidney stones. That was so much worse than I thought it was gonna be. I can't even get that taste out of my mouth. I gotta chase it with something. Another tip, take your beer in cans, not bottles. And that's gonna roll me right into the next tip, which is lighten your load. I'm not gonna go too in depth in this, but the easiest way to drop your pack weight is to focus on your big four. That's your backpack, your tent, your sleeping pad, and your sleeping bag. These might be the heaviest items in your backpack, and if you're just starting out, these are probably the areas you're going to wanna upgrade first. For instance, my first tent was 8 pounds, and I upgraded that to a 4-pound backpacking tent, so on tent alone, I lost 4 pounds. Another huge contributor to weight is food and water. Now water, you can't really get around a lot because you're gonna have to drink a lot out there, but carrying a water filter, if you're not already, is something you need to do. And as far as food goes, there's a lot of very lightweight dehydrated options out there, or dehydrate your own food. Onto nutrition and hydration. Now when you're doing a lot of miles out there, you won't always know exactly what you're craving, so it's good to have a wide variety of foods that you've tested during your training to be able to consume out there. Now talking about fueling on the go, I usually go with the 2 S's, sugar and salt. If you ever watch a marathon, you notice those guys are just living off of pure glucose in these little gel packets. I don't bring these backpacking a lot. I might throw in 1 or 2 on a long trip just in case if I'm really hitting a wall. But because I have a pack where I can carry a lot more better food, I usually just bring stuff that is more enjoyable to eat. When you get to camp, you're definitely gonna want some protein for that muscle recovery. But when it comes to hiking throughout the day, sugar is what your body runs off of. I think a big mistake backpackers make is not fueling as often. So maybe eat like a pack of fruit snacks or eat something sugary like every hour or so, especially if it's hot and you're sweating and you're expelling a lot more energy. When it's really hot, you also need to make sure you are drinking so much more. The biggest problem with hydration is I feel like people wait until they're thirsty to drink. If you are hot and sweaty and really thirsty before you decide to take a drink, you are already dehydrated. That's also where salt comes into play too. So I always bring a few of these salt stick tablets. I can basically just live off of sugary drinks and foods and live off of salt tabs as far as getting my body's electrolytes. So depending how hot it is, also you're gonna sweat so much you're gonna lose all the salt from your body, and unless you're replacing it, you are going to get muscle cramps. A lot of people get muscle cramps while backpacking and they just think that they're out of shape, but it has so much to do with your hydration and your electrolytes. I've cramped up in the middle of long runs several times and it literally never happens anymore, and it's not like I'm in so much better shape now than I was then. It's just that I learned to fuel more often. Now it's also important to start your hike fully loaded. All your glycogen cells in your muscles should be completely full of energy, so that's where proper carb loading comes in. I feel like not a lot of people actually carb load before backpacking trips, but just like a day or 2 before your trip, just absolutely load up on sugar. Like my method of madness is I eat about 90% of my calories from carbs. Now it is common to gain a pound or 2 when carb loading, but that's totally fine. You're going to burn those calories. And also before you start the trail, start completely hydrated. If you are at your vehicle and you have unlimited water storage, you don't have to carry that. Drink as much as you can before you go so that you're completely hydrated and fully fueled for your trip. That reminds me of another good little point that I learned, and that's if you're very dehydrated, you shouldn't chug water because it like shocks your stomach and it'll just go right through you. You just pee it out immediately and you'll get some hydration from it, but you really won't get the full benefit. So when you are drinking water throughout the day, really savor it, really sip it down slowly. Do not chug it too fast or it's not going to do its job as well. Next on the list, trail runners. I can't even explain to you how good it feels to get out of heavy boots and into light shoes hiking. It's something that people don't quite know that they can do if you're just starting out. If you're a diehard boot guy or whatever, that's fine, but you just need to keep weight in mind. So I think it's like 1 pound on your feet equals like 5 pounds on your back. So that's how heavy these are going to feel. So if your boots feel really heavy, maybe you can find a lighter option. If you're not ready to take the full plunge into trail runners, I know shoes like these are the Hoka Speed Goats. You can actually get these in like a mid version. But switching to something that's going to keep you way lighter on the feet and make you burn less energy is such a valuable tip. Now the next one is a mistake I see people making all the time. When we start a hike or a run, everybody feels invincible. For that first little segment, you are going to feel like $1,000,000, like you can just conquer the world. And that is a dangerous feeling. You will be quickly reminded that you cannot keep up that pace after the first initial energy boost wears off. And this is super dangerous because once you lose that first boost, you will not get that back. And you will actually feel worse the entire trip than if you would have just started very slow from the beginning. Now, when you're doing a lot of elevation or a lot of climbing, I like to do something that I refer to as matching effort. When you start hitting a hill, slow it down and really feel your body. If you start getting more out of breath, if your legs start hurting more and more, you need to tone it down. Even if you've already dialed back 50% of your pace, you need to dial it back so you're still putting out the exact same energy as you are on the flats. Just like starting out too fast, if you burn yourself out going up a hill, you're really not going to get that back for a long time. This also goes with downhill. It's okay to open up on the downhills a little bit, let that gravity take hold. You still want to make sure you're matching effort. That's a good beginner tip. I do know that I push harder down the hills because I know I can go so much faster. But I've also been doing this for so many years that I know exactly the paces I need to be running at to where my cardio can actually keep up with my leg muscles. And arguably the worst part about losing all your energy is your loss in confidence. Confidence is key. Now, you guys might not even believe me on this one, but I am truly convinced that mindset and confidence is equally as important as your physical ability and training. I feel like I felt this firsthand on a lot of ultra marathons. I've had much shorter races that were harder than longer races purely because of my mind playing tricks on me. You get to that mile 30 out of a 31-mile race and you feel worse than you did sometimes at mile 49 out of a 50-mile race. When my body knows it's almost time to be done, it starts slacking off a little bit. Before I ran my 100-miler, I did so much research building my confidence in this because truly, before you go do something like that, it does not seem possible. It didn't seem possible to me even when I signed up for it. I just really put in the time understanding where I had to be mentally to accomplish something like this. I watched video after video after video of 100-milers and how they deal with these situations. And by the time that race started, I was 100% confident that no matter what, I was finishing that race. If you go into a backpacking trip and you're not sure if you're going to be able to do it, you might have already failed. And this is where proper carb loading and training and all these things build up your confidence, and like the beetroot, like have all these things that are placebos that just make you feel like $1,000,000. Go into all these backpacking trips or running events with the mindset that there's nothing going to stop you, that you are going to finish. My 100-miler, despite a couple very centralized pains, was by far not my hardest ultra marathon because I was well prepared. That made my confidence through the roof, and there was nothing stopping me that day. I think that's something that you can really take into backpacking as well. So what is the number one thing you should do to make hiking easy? Not easier, easy. I know you guys are gonna hate this, but become a runner. I don't blink twice at any trail, and it's not because I'm this supreme athlete. When I ran in middle school, which was the only time I ran until I was 27, I was a very middle of the pack runner. I was not amazing at all. The only reason I'm to the physical level that I am now is because I actually put in a lot of time. I think so many of you could get to my level and get to the point where you just have the confidence and the ability to just bang out any trail any day of the week. Having better physical stamina will help you in every aspect of life. If you want this performance additive beat, I'm going to be giving this away in this video, so make sure you write "I'm in" the comment section. If you got any value from this, make sure you subscribe and click on this video for some more backpacking hacks that'll just make your life so much easier. Thanks for watching. See you in the next one.